howling wind sliced through the dense pine forest, carrying with it a haunting sound, a wolf's distant cry, weak and full of agony. It wasn't the usual territorial call or a warning howl. It was a plea. Ethan Carter, a seasoned wildlife conservationist, had spent years studying wolves in the remote regions of Montana. He had learned to distinguish their vocalizations, and this one sent a shiver down his spine. Something was wrong. Very wrong. His phone buzzed, breaking the eerie silence of the wilderness. It was a distress call from a local ranger. "Ethan, we've got a situation. A lone wolf has been spotted near Devil's Ridge, injured and unable to move. Locals reported hearing it cry all night. We don't think it'll survive another night in this storm." Ethan's heart pounded. The temperature had dropped dangerously low, and with the blizzard rolling in, any exposed animal would freeze within hours. He grabbed his emergency kit, layered up in thick winter gear, and threw his backpack into the back of his old Jeep. The journey to Devil's Ridge was treacherous. The snow-covered roads were barely visible, and the sharp turns made every moment a gamble. Ethan gripped the steering wheel tightly, his breath fogging up the windshield. Time was running out. Arriving at the base of the ridge, he shut off the engine and listened. The wind howled through the towering trees, but beneath it, there it was again, the wolf's faint, desperate cry. Ethan strapped on his headlamp, grabbed his medical supplies, and trudged through the knee-deep snow. The further he climbed, the stronger the wind became, biting at his exposed skin. Then, through the swirling snow, he saw it, a dark figure curled near the base of a jagged rock formation. His breath caught in his throat. A lone wolf, barely moving, its once magnificent fur now matted with ice and blood. One of its legs was caught in a rusted old hunting trap, the metal biting deep into its flesh. The animal's amber eyes flickered weakly, its body trembling from exhaustion and cold. Ethan felt a surge of anger. Traps like these had been outlawed years ago, yet they still claimed innocent lives. The wolf had likely been struggling for days, growing weaker by the hour. Moving slowly, Ethan crouched a few feet away. "Easy, buddy," he murmured, his voice low and calm. "I'm here to help." The wolf's ears flicked slightly, its gaze locked onto Ethan. It was too weak to fight, but still aware, still wary. Ethan had to act fast. He pulled out his tranquilizer syringe. The wolf needed medical attention, but first he had to free it from the trap. The storm was getting worse, and if they didn't get out soon, both of them might not make it through the night. The wolf's labored breaths fogged the freezing air as Ethan cautiously reached for his tranquilizer syringe. His fingers, numb from the cold, fumbled slightly, but he steadied himself. He had only one shot. If he missed or startled the wolf too much, it might lash out, worsening its injuries, or worse, flee into the storm, sealing its fate. "Easy now," Ethan whispered. He inched forward, his heart pounding as he pushed the needle into the wolf's muscular shoulder. The animal flinched but was too weak to resist. Within minutes, its breathing slowed, its amber eyes fluttering as the sedative took effect. Ethan wasted no time. He pulled a pair of bolt cutters from his pack, gritting his teeth as he examined the trap. The metal had dug deep, nearly to the bone. He clenched his jaw in frustration. This was no ordinary hunting trap. It was illegal, designed to hold its victim in agonizing captivity. Someone had set this deliberately. With a deep breath, he positioned the cutters and applied pressure. The old rusted steel resisted at first, but with a loud snap, the trap finally gave way. Ethan quickly removed the jagged metal, careful not to cause further damage. Blood immediately began seeping from the deep gashes, staining the white snow. He worked quickly, pulling bandages and antiseptic from his pack. As he wrapped the wolf's leg, the first real wave of doubt crept into his mind. Even with the wound dressed, the animal was too weak to walk. And with the blizzard closing in, carrying it back to his Jeep seemed nearly impossible. The wind howled, snow swirling in every direction. Visibility was dropping fast. If they didn't move now, they'd both be buried beneath the storm. Ethan glanced at the unconscious wolf. He had only one choice. He removed his thick outer coat, wrapped the wolf as best he could, and hoisted it onto his back. The weight nearly knocked him over. The wolf was large, likely a male, around 120 pounds even in its weakened state. His muscles screamed in protest, but he had no other option. With every step, the deep snow threatened to pull him under. His boots sank into the icy drifts, his breath coming in sharp gasps. The ridgeline was steep, the wind relentless. Each step forward felt like pushing through quicksand. Halfway down, disaster struck. A sharp crack echoed through the mountains, an avalanche. The force of the storm had weakened the snowpack, and a wall of ice and rock tumbled down the ridge above him. Ethan's survival instincts kicked in. He threw himself to the side, shielding the wolf as a wave of snow slammed into them. Pain shot through his side as he tumbled down the slope, crashing into the frozen earth below. Dazed, gasping for air, Ethan forced himself up. Snow covered everything, making it nearly impossible to tell where he was. The wolf lay motionless beside him. They were trapped, and time was running out. Ethan coughed, his lungs burning from the icy air. His body ached from the impact, but he had no time to assess his own injuries. He turned toward the wolf, still motionless, its fur now dusted with fresh snow. "Come on, buddy. Don't give up on me now." He dragged himself closer and placed a gloved hand on the wolf's chest. Relief flooded him. The faint rise and fall of its ribs meant it was still alive. But barely. The avalanche had buried the main trail. The jeep was now an impossible distance away. Ethan's mind raced. He had to think fast. He fumbled for his radio, praying the storm hadn't killed the signal. "This is Ethan Carter. I'm trapped near Devil's Ridge with an injured wolf. I need immediate assistance. Static. Then..." "Ethan?" "We copy. The storm's bad, but we'll send a team. Can you hold out?" Ethan glanced around. Trees, bent under the weight of the snowfall, creaked ominously. The temperature was plummeting. Hypothermia was setting in. "I don't have a choice," he muttered. He couldn't let the wolf lie in the snow any longer. He stripped off his second jacket and wrapped it around the animal, rubbing its body to generate warmth. He whispered encouragement, as if the wolf could understand. Minutes felt like hours. His hands were numb. His muscles screamed in protest. But finally, the wolf stirred. At first, just a twitch of its ear. Then, its amber eyes flickered open. Ethan froze. Would it recognize him as an ally, or would instinct kick in and fear drive it to lash out? The wolf struggled, its body weak. But instead of snarling or snapping, it simply stared at Ethan, as if trying to process what had happened. "Yeah," Ethan murmured. "Rough night, huh?" The radio crackled. "Ethan, we're closing in. Signal a flare if you can." He fumbled for his emergency flare, his hands stiff and uncooperative from the cold. With the last bit of strength he had left, he struck it against a rock. A bright red glow erupted into the stormy night. Within minutes, the sound of an approaching snowmobile broke through the wind's howling rage. Headlights cut through the whiteout, and Ethan nearly collapsed from relief. Rescuers leapt from their vehicles, rushing to his side. "Jesus, Carter, you look like hell," one of them said, pulling him up. "Yeah, well," Ethan panted, gesturing toward the wolf. "He's the one who needs help." Together, they carefully lifted the wolf onto a sled. As the team wrapped blankets around both man and animal, Ethan turned one last time to the wolf, who, despite everything, was still watching him. A silent understanding passed between them. A bond forged in the face of death. As they rode back toward safety, Ethan knew this was more than just another rescue. It was proof that trust, even between man and beast, could defy the odds. And against all odds, they had both survived. What would you have done in Ethan's place? Would you risk your life to save a wild animal? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters. Do you believe every life, human or animal, is worth saving? Let us know what you think. If this story moved you, share it with your friends. Let's spread awareness about wildlife conservation and the incredible bonds between humans and animals. Subscribe for more real-life rescue stories. Don't miss the next breathtaking survival tale. Hit that notification bell so you're the first to watch. Join the community of people who care about wildlife and nature. Like this video if you believe in second chances.